The Galactic Medical Conference on Station Viridian 7 had seen many controversies, but nothing quite prepared the assembled delegates for the incident that would later be known as the Ice Pack Affair. Cynthia Martinez, a human xenobiologist assigned to the diplomatic corps, had been studying the Volcari, a proud warrior species resembling bipedal wolves, for 3 standard months. Their culture fascinated her, honor-bound, fiercely loyal, and utterly convinced that pain was a teacher, not an enemy. The Volcari scorned weakness in all its forms, which made their child-rearing practices somewhat intense by human standards. On the day everything changed, Cynthia was observing a training session in the station's recreational dome. Young Volcari cubs practiced combat forms under the watchful eyes of their elders. She noticed one particular cub, no more than 7 solar cycles old, limping badly after a particularly aggressive sparring match. The little one's left hind leg was visibly swollen, the joint inflamed and tender. The cub's mentor, a grizzled warrior named Rakthus, barked encouragement. "Walk it off, Krishna! Pain is the forge that shapes warriors." Cynthia's medical training overrode her diplomatic conditioning. She approached quickly, her colleague Jeffrey Chen close behind. Jeffrey, a human physician, carried a standard field medical kit. "Excuse me," Cynthia said, her translator rendering her words in the guttural Volcari tongue. "That cub needs medical attention. That joint could sustain permanent damage." Rakthus turned, his muzzle curling in what might have been amusement or disdain. "The human presumes to lecture us on raising our young. Krishna learns as all Volcari learn, through endurance." "Through unnecessary suffering," Jeffrey interjected, already kneeling beside the cub. Krishna whimpered softly, trying to maintain a brave face, but clearly in considerable pain. Before Rakthus could object further, Jeffrey had removed something from his kit that made several Volcari recoil. A flexible blue gel pack, frosted with condensation. He had activated the chemical cooling reaction seconds before. "What is that?" Rakthus demanded, one paw moving toward his ceremonial blade. "An ice pack," Cynthia explained calmly. "Frozen water. It reduces inflammation and numbs pain. It's completely harmless." "Ice?" Another elder, Shavara, stepped forward. "You would apply ice to an injury? To freeze the flesh?" "Not freeze," Jeffrey said, gently wrapping the pack around Krishna's swollen joint with a thin cloth barrier. "Just cool it. The cold constricts blood vessels, reduces swelling, and provides pain relief. Basic first aid for soft tissue injuries." The effect was almost immediate. Krishna's tense posture relaxed. The constant low whine of pain ceased. The cub looked down at his leg with wonder, then up at Jeffrey with wide, grateful eyes. "The pain," Krishna whispered. "It's less." "Much less, I'd wager," Cynthia said, smiling. "Keep it on for about 20 minutes, then we'll reassess. You should be walking normally within a day or 2. The surrounding Volcari stared in stunned silence. Pain reduction without medication, without surgery, without the ritualistic suffering they believed necessary for healing. It was incomprehensible. Rakthus bent down, sniffing the ice pack suspiciously. "This is human medicine? This frozen water?" "One of the oldest forms," Jeffrey confirmed. "Humans discovered millennia ago that cold application reduces injury inflammation. We've been doing it since we lived in caves." What happened next spread through the Volcari population of Viridian 7 like wildfire. Within hours, Krishna was walking normally, the swelling dramatically reduced. Word reached the Volcari delegation quarters. By evening, Cynthia and Jeffrey found themselves surrounded by adult Volcari warriors, each insisting they too were swollen. "My shoulder!" growled Commander Vekthar, leader of the Volcari diplomatic mission. "From the sparring match last week, very swollen. Perhaps the human ice magic would help? Jeffrey examined the shoulder. There's barely any inflammation here. I assure you, human, it is gravely swollen, Vekthar insisted with absolute seriousness. I can feel it. Behind him a line had formed. Warriors claimed swollen knees, swollen elbows, swollen ankles, injuries from weeks or even months prior, most of which had long since healed. Some were clearly fabricating ailments entirely. Cynthia caught Jeffrey's eye and had to suppress a laugh. The fierce Volcari who scorned weakness and embraced pain were lining up like children for ice packs. They're not really injured, Jeffrey muttered in English. No, Cynthia agreed, but look at them. They've spent their entire lives being told that suffering through pain is noble. Now we've shown them there's another way. They're curious, Jeffrey, maybe even relieved. Over the next week, something remarkable happened. The Volcari began integrating cold therapy into their medical practices, not to replace their warrior culture, but to complement it. They reasoned that reducing recovery time meant warriors could return to training faster, a practical, honor-preserving justification. But Cynthia and Jeffrey both noticed something deeper. The cubs especially took to the treatment. Parents who had once scolded their young for showing pain now quietly applied ice packs when no one was watching. The rigid culture was softening just slightly around the edges. At the conference's closing ceremony, Commander Vekthar approached the two humans. In his paws, he held an ornate case. "The Volcari Pack honors you," he announced formally. "You have shown us that wisdom comes in many forms, even from soft species who seem to fear all discomfort." He opened the case, revealing two ceremonial medallions. "You are hereby granted the title of Pack Friend. You have made us stronger, not through pain, but through its absence." Cynthia accepted her medallion with genuine emotion. "We just applied an ice pack to a cub." "Yes," Vekthar agreed, his eyes gleaming with something that might have been humor. "And now the entire pack claims they are swollen. You have conquered the Volcari not with weapons, but with frozen water. The shameless efficiency of it is very human." Jeffrey grinned. "Wait until we tell you about heating pads." Vekthar's ears perked up immediately. "Heat pads? Tell me more." As the two humans explained thermotherapy to an increasingly fascinated audience of warrior diplomats, Cynthia reflected on the strange nature of cultural exchange. Sometimes the most profound changes came not from grand gestures or diplomatic treaties, but from simple acts of compassion and a willingness to share something as basic as an ice pack. Humanity's greatest strength, she thought, wasn't their technology or their adaptability. It was their stubborn insistence that suffering, when unnecessary, should be eliminated. Even if it meant arguing with a pack of space wolves about the virtues of frozen water. The Volcari would never admit it publicly, but privately, they were grateful. And on Viridian 7, the supply of ice packs mysteriously ran out within the week.